Smith. I'm your host and moderator, Ryan Ruff. It's great to be back with you here on the show. And as always, I've got my right-hand man in Mr. Homer Smith, private wealth advisor, joining me. And we're going to be tackling another wealth management related topic. That's what we do here on the show. And in today's topic, we have a real, keen focus that we're looking into with and for business owners particularly. So to frame today's conversation up, if you are a business owner, do you have key person insurance or maybe a buy-sell agreement in place? Well, if so, when was the last time you updated that plan? Or, if your solutions on the other flip side, if maybe let's say they are a few years old, you could be setting yourself up for a financial disaster of sorts. And that's really going to be the basis of today's topic. We're going to be examining really why that is and what entrepreneurs can be doing about it right now to take those preemptive measures and put themselves in a good place. But before we do so, let's get Homer out here. Homer, it's good to see you. How you doing today?
Hey, Ryan, good to see you as well. And, this is such an important topic because from what I'm seeing out there is, so many business owners are in the middle of right now, just really looking at their options for their company in the coming few years and trying to figure out what they need to do. And, what we're known for really more than anything else is helping successful families and business owners confidently navigate all of life's complex transitions. And those transitions can be anything from, as a business owner, just moving from being the owner operator to just owner and taking a step back from the day-to-day operations, or maybe you're at the point of considering that transition where you're going to shift the business to the management team or the next generation, or even consider an outside sale. And these transitions can also be, as a family, how are we going to transition our wealth to the next generation or the causes we care about in a way that's positive and impactful. And our goal really is to be a leader for our clients through these transitions. So this topic today of business continuity, as it really weaves through all of those different life transitions. So I'm excited to really talk and dive into this one today.
Absolutely, Homer. And boy, are there just so many variables and challenges that exist in today's landscape for a business owner. I mean, just take a look at the last few years that we've all been experiencing. Just that's a case study and a lesson in and of itself. But today we're focusing really on these two steps, that business owners can be taking to avoid those major financial hardships that can accompany some of those challenges. And that's a type of an insurance policy as well as a business continuity agreement. Why don't you set the scene for us here today, Homer?
These are really important considerations. Unexpected events and developments can oftentimes just really come out of nowhere and really shake the foundations that we stand on. And it doesn't take a global health crisis to jeopardize the success of a business. So we really think entrepreneurs need to be including this discussion as a part of, with key person insurance, with buy-sell agreements, just really as part of their overall business planning. Both of these are really essential to making sure your business is going to be able to survive and thrive, really no matter what might come up within your business.
Homer, do you find that these two areas, that key person insurance or a buy-sell agreement, that are areas that business owners might often ignore sometimes or just don't focus on enough, frankly?
The reality is in the work that we've done with the business owners that we work with is most of them have either one or both of these solutions in place. But the problem is when we ask them, when was the last time you took a look at the paperwork and pulled it out of the file cabinet and really assessed whether it was meeting your current needs? And the answers, unfortunately, almost all the time are they haven't looked at it in the last few years, or even if they did, they don't really even know what it says. They're not really sure what's in the document. So that can really spell big trouble because outdated or insufficient language in these different documents and these different solutions, when things come up, can really cause a lot of problems if those things really aren't up to date and aren't really designed effectively for what the business needs.
Sure enough. So Homer, let's take a look at the real, the good side of these things, the big benefits or the advantages, if you will. What are those advantages of the buy-sell agreement or a key person insurance policy?
Yeah, I mean, if we start with key person life insurance, there's going to be times that due to death, key people in the company are lost. And really, what key person insurance is all about is providing a benefit back to the company that can insulate the business from that loss, where the revenue that key employee or the owner might be providing, maybe they're the key salesperson in the organization, the loss of revenue from them can be offset, and really the money from that life insurance policy can then be used to go out and hire and train the replacement. really in the end, the other benefit of life insurance in these types of scenarios is that when these events happen, they're sudden, unexpected, they're very tragic. At least with life insurance, there's some guarantee that the money is going to be coming back into the business to at least provide some financial security. So really the way that this works is if you look at the business, whether it's again the owner or multiple key people within the business would go out and get a life insurance policy on each of those key individuals at an amount that you determine would be necessary if something were to happen to them to keep the business afloat. And that those life insurance policies, the beneficiary of those would be the business. And again, that those funds, should something happen, would then be used to hire and train the person that they're would need to be replaced, and or provide some funding should that person that needed to be replaced, that left, that unfortunately passed away, if there's a financial shortfall in the business because of that.
Roger that, Homer. And in your experiences, Homer, as you've been looking at the way different business owners handle these types of situations, do you find that most business owners are doing well in this area of protection, or are they setting these things up well, executing upon them well? What's your take on this?
In one study with a group that we work with, AES Nation, that regularly studies business owners, they actually found that 60% of business owners, when surveyed, said they had some kind of key person insurance in place. My concern would be, is it enough? But at least they have some level in place. So in one sense, that's pretty good. But the challenge of that, obviously, is that means 40% don't have a policy like this in place. And here's the kicker. Of those that don't have a policy in place, when asked, 70% of them said that if one of their key employees, if something were to happen to them, the business would severely suffer and potentially handicap the business overall. So I'd argue that really 60% isn't nearly enough because of the risk that really happens when this kind of event occurs.
Yikes. I mean, those are some staggering numbers. And so, I mean, if anything, that's a testament to making sure that you do have some of these positions, or these solutions rather, in place. Homer, I want to take a closer look now at that other one, the buy sell agreement. What is really the appeal? What's the drawing point here?
The appeal for buy sell agreements, if you think about it, with a private company with multiple partners, two, three partners, if something were to happen to one of the partners, a death, a disability, or even if they just want to retire, but really in the event of those death and disability, you as the current partner aren't usually going to want to be partners with the spouse or the kids once that happens. So a buy sell agreement is really an important tool that provides legal framework for how you sever ties in these situations, and how to accomplish this transition from that partner leaving the business. So it really provides for a number of values. One, it ensures when that triggering event occurs, such as again the death of the owner, that person's equity, that there's a plan for that purchase, so that their heirs are going to be receiving the ultimate benefit of that business, or of that equity and that value. And then oftentimes, if done well, buy sell agreements are accompanied by a funding mechanism, usually life insurance. So something maybe similar to a key person policy, but specifically for the purchase of the business, so that when that other partner passes away, life insurance benefits come in for the other owner to afford to be able to buy out the remaining heirs of that owner, in a large lump sum way that's not going to hinder the profitability of the business. And for that family that's lost their husband, their spouse, their wife, their parents, it provides a mechanism for estate planning purposes, a value of the business when it comes to mapping out what happens after that. So there's a lot of benefits to having this in place and just providing that structure. Too often we find when these events occur, there's just not enough structure, not enough language, and it ends up creating some level of chaos, which isn't good for the business, and it's definitely not good for the family having to navigate through all of this.
Yeah, nobody likes chaos in these moments, Homer. With this buy sell agreement, then when you had mentioned those kind of staggering numbers and the percentages that AES Nation had done in their study surrounding the key person insurance. Is this another case then where we're seeing a large percentage of business owners not having a buy sell agreement in place to be able to protect themselves and their business?
Well, the good news, at least related to buy sell agreements, is that the value of them is pretty widely recognized. And in those same surveys, it was something like 80%. So nearly 4 out of 5 business owners had a buy sell agreement in place. The bad news, though, is that 85% of those business owners with buy sell agreements in place hadn't reviewed how the mechanism would actually work, and how it would all come together in the last 3 years. And so even having it in place doesn't mean that it's actually going to work according to plan. You know, if you think about the last 3 years of your life, how much has changed? All of us have been through a lot in the last 3 years, politically, economically, socially. So oftentimes the financial fortunes of a lot of these private businesses have changed as well. And that buy-sell agreement may not, really be accounting for everything that needs to be accounted for with those changes that have occurred.
So let's play the game of hypotheticals then, Homer. If that business has a buy sell agreement that is in fact out of date, right? It's obsolete given that all these changes you like you mentioned the last 3 years. How big of a deal is this? What are we talking about in terms of the ramifications?
Yeah, it's potentially a huge deal. These outdated agreements can cause major problems and really oftentimes can lead to lawsuits. So, just as an example, something that we have seen in these agreements often is that instead of talking about valuation and leaving it flexible in terms of how that's going to be determined, using a valuation specialist to do that, oftentimes we actually see specific dollar amounts listed in the buy-sell agreements for the amount that a retiring or disabled or a part of that passed away, what their family would get. But if that business had grown, if one part of their business had really been successful, and now maybe instead of a $5 million payout, their share might be worth $20 million. Well, if that family it kind of sees the way that the agreement is written and then understands the real value of the company, that's going to be met with a lot of trouble, and oftentimes again a lawsuit is going to occur. And so, another issue that we see in these, and the problem with all these, is that oftentimes these agreements have too much what we call boilerplate language in them. You go to an attorney, they put your operating agreement together, they put, they have some buy sell language in the agreement, but it's really not designed for the specifics of that business. It's not, they really don't take into account those specific owners' business itself, but also, what they want out of the business if one of these events were to happen, and what's best for the families. And so, really they're not bespoke enough. They're not specific to that business. And these are the issues that come out of that. You're going to end up with lawsuits. You're going to end up with a lot of frustration and a lot of confusion if there's not really a good amount of time spent really making sure this part of the agreement is done really well.
Absolutely. Homer, as we're kind of bringing our conversation to a head here, we talked about these two big ideals, right? That key person insurance policy, and then of course the buy sell agreement. The nice thing is when you've got these tools in your toolkit that you can be able to utilize, but the flip side is you got to remain, ensure that they remain up to date and relevant given, the times that your business is experiencing and the changes and ebbs and flows that happen along the way. But Homer, as we kind of bottom line things for our audience here today, do you have any final thoughts, just any advice even for those business owners out there to help them really just make sure they're staying on top of these so that they can leverage really the benefits that come along with these two strategies?
Yeah, for buy-sell agreements and things like key person insurance, in general, we recommend that these types of agreements and structures be reviewed, at least every year to maybe 2 years at the most, and especially if any major changes occur in the business, either financially, positively, or negatively, these types of things need to be reviewed. And really, they should be reviewed as a group, right? It's not just the business owner taking a quick look at it, but really it should be in conjunction with your wealth management and family office team, your CPA, and your attorney, making sure that everybody's on the same page and understands everything going on in the business, to make sure again that your buy sell agreement, your key person insurance, is really designed specifically around the needs of your business. So yeah, that's what we'd recommend. And if you have those types of great professionals already in place, I would definitely reach out to them and suggest that you do a review of your buy sell agreements and key person insurance. And if you don't feel like you've got those people in place, we would definitely be happy to be that second pair of eyes to do a little stress test on what you have in place, and just make sure that in the event of one of these triggering events, an unfortunate death, a disability, or strictly just looking to retire and move out of the business, that your plan is designed to really maximize and optimize the exit for you and your family.
And Homer, and speaking of, that second set of eyes, the trusted professionals that people can reach out to evaluate the state of their plans and maybe edit them, help upgrade them even. If somebody is in need and or rather just wants to pick your brain, your team's brain about whether or not they have a plan in place yet or just want to make sure things are touched up and relevant, what would be the best way they could get in touch with you guys to just open up a dialogue on this?
Yeah, so the best way to reach out to have this kind of second opinion, second pair of eyes, is really just to send us an email, and we'll have that email on the bottom of the screen here. So those of you watching that want to reach out, would love to hear from you, and again, we'd be happy to be that group that is able to take a second look at this for you and make sure you got everything you need.
Fantastic. Well, Homer, look, I really appreciate you carving some time out of your day to jump on, talk to us about these two strategies in the lives of business owners. I know these are conversations that you're having a lot with your clients and a lot with the business owners that you speak with on a regular basis. So appreciate some of your insight today, and I will see you on the next one, my friend.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, folks. And hey, look, we want to say one final thank you for stopping by and being a part of the episode as well today. If you took anything away from today's discussion, you benefited from it in any way, shape, or form, go ahead and hit that subscribe button then on whichever platform you checked us out on today. That way you never miss out on another great conversation between Homer, myself, or maybe one of our special guests that we have here on the show. At the end of the day, we want to provide value via this show and help, really advance your wealth. It's in the name of the show. Well, look, hey, for Homer, I'm Ryan. We're going to go ahead and say so long then, but we once again appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with us here on Advance Your Wealth with Homer Smith.